Hello there, my name is Peter Mansbridge, and welcome to CBC News. Today is July 16th, 1994, and we have some breaking news. Genocide has broken out in Rwanda, and approximately 800,000 people have perished. Lieutenant General Romeo Dallaire, commander of the UN Assistance Mission in Rwanda, is in command there and is trying to get control over the area. Lieutenant General Dallaire was born in Dennekamp, Holland on the 25th of June, 1946, to Canadian Army Sergeant Romeo Louis Dallaire and Katerina Vermeysen Dallaire. He was raised and educated in Canada, joining Le Collège Militaire Royal de Saint-Jean in 1964, later assuming command of this institution as Brigadier General in 1989, and graduating with a Bachelor of Science degree from the Royal Military College in 1969. Lieutenant General Dallaire has served in staff training and command positions throughout North America, Europe, and Africa, rising from Army Cadet to Lieutenant General. Lieutenant General Dallaire had information about the massacre, but permission to intervene has been denied, and the UN has withdrawn its forces there. Lieutenant General Dallaire stayed in Rwanda with a small group of soldiers from Ghana and fulfilled their ethical obligation to protect those who were still alive and fighting to stay alive. We are fortunate enough today to have Mr. Dallaire with us to speak about his experiences. Mr. Dallaire? I now open the floor to any reporters with any questions. Mr. Dallaire would only be able to answer 5 questions.
I would just like to say thank you to Peter and the reporters, because without them, I won't be able to get my message across and educate the world on my experiences.
Mr. Dallaire, what was it like in Rwanda?
It was terrible. One of the most terrifying scenes I've ever seen in my life. It was the greatest slaughter of human beings since the Holocaust. The majority of the 800,000 or so who were killed died of machete wounds. Many would have known their killers. The survivors and the perpetrators continued to live next to one another. I promised never to let the memory of the Rwanda genocide die. I felt it was my duty, having witnessed it and having stayed to witness it, that I had to talk about it and keep it going.
Lieutenant General Dallaire, who do you blame for the genocide?
Too many parties have focused on pointing the finger at others, beyond the perpetrators, as the scapegoats for our common failure. Some say the example of Rwanda proves that the UN is an irrelevant, corrupt, decadent institution that has outlived its usefulness, or even its ability to conduct conflict resolution. Others have blamed the US and France for failing to see beyond their own national self-interest to lead or even support international intervention to stop the genocide. Some have the media for not telling the story, the peacekeepers for not showing more resolve, and myself for failing in my mission. But in the end, it's the failure of humanity to heed a call for help from an endangered people that is the true culprit.
What motivated you to stay in Rwanda, even though you were given orders to get out of there?
The motivation was that the international community, with the UN as a symbol, failed to move beyond self-interest for the sake of saving Rwanda. While most nations agreed something should be done, nobody grabbed the issue by the neck and said we should do something about it. They just made up lame excuses why not to. As a result, we have 800,000 innocent people with 300,000 children dead. That was my motivation, that no one nation was willing to step up with all their resources, and all it took was a couple men.
Reporters have said you have suffered severe post-traumatic stress disorder. Can you elaborate on that? And do you have a future in politics? If so, what is your plan?
Seeing what I have seen in Rwanda, it is hard not to get PTSD. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, can develop following a traumatic event that threatens your safety or makes you feel helpless. I first recognized I got it when I first got back to Canada. I started re-experiencing the event in my mind, always wondering what I could have done to help. I was seeing those children's bodies in my mind, with cuts and wounds, their innocent faces. I also saw the mothers grasping their children in their arms to protect them, some with babies on board. I was losing sleep, not acting myself. It was terrible. Now I'm getting training from specialists, and I plan to educate our armed forces about how to deal with PTSD and to educate them. On the issue of politics, if I am offered a position, I will gladly consider it and consult my family for their opinions. If given a position, I plan to make the government more aware of the dangers to the whole world and to make events like this genocide never happen again.
What is the significance of this event, Mr. Dallaire?
That's a great question. I was hoping somebody would bring that one up. The significance of my actions in Rwanda is a warning to the nations of the world that if this laid-back attitude is used in the future, the world will be engulfed in tyranny and chaos. This goes for any country, from London to Taiwan. We cannot accept these extremists in our world. We must give our future children and grandchildren a better future, not one that they are forced to hide in fear. The bottom line is, this new century must become the century of humanity, when we as human beings rise above race, creed, color, religion, and national self-interest, and put the good of humanity above the good of our own tribe, for the sake of our children and our future.
That will be all the questions for today. But before we end off our segment, I would like to extend my condolences to the entire nation of Rwanda. I hope everyone watching today will look at this dark event in human history and attempt to create a positive change that will advance all of mankind. Please tune in next week for a special edition of CBC News in Rwanda, looking at the aftermath. From everyone here at CBC News, thank you and good night.
Thank you, Peter, very much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.